Jai Hind students, and this is my next video. First I have made, and this is second video, and in which you have learned that Khushwant Singh had tried to draw a sketch imagination portrait of his grandmother in this. So coming to the next para, my grandmother and I were good friends. So he is talking about, he is sharing this view about his grandmother, that both were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city. Means his parents settled down in the city. So for that reason, they could not be able to take him with him to the city. So so they left him with his grandmother, and we were constantly, means continuously together. They were living together, means he and his grandmother. So she used, means his grandmother, Khushwant Singh's grandmother used to wake up him up in the morning and get him ready for school. So this is all about, means his grandmother would wake him up in the morning, and she would also get him ready to for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous, means that is boring, that is not means no one is interested in that, but she kept on singing prayer while she was dressing up him. So she was doing that and sing song while she bathed and dressed me. Means when she was getting him ready for school, she would sing a song prayer. So that was not liked by the author. So in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart, and she thought that Khushwant Singh will also listen and will learn it by heart, but he was not interested in that song. Only she was singing, so he was interested in his grandmother's voice. So I listened because I loved her voice. Means he was not interested in song, in prayer. Instead, he was interested in his grandmother's voice. So it is reason for that, but never bothered to learn it. But he never tried to learn it. Then she would fetch my wooden slate and slate to write, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk. A tiny earthen ink pot was there also to write, and with the help of this ink pot, and a red pen, tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. Means she would prepare slate for him, chalk for him, and also it was prepared well, and earthen ink pot so that he could write with this ink pot, and having a red pen also, and she would tie them all in a bundle. So after a breakfast of a thick stale means that is not fresh, matlab basi chapati, with a little butter, means butter was applied on that chapati, and he would take that with sugar spread on it, and we went to school. We means his grandmother and Khushwant Singh. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. So it is that she was kind hearted. She was so kind hearted that she would carry chapatis for the dogs also. So it is about his grandmother's nature. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. So she was interested as every means old people, whether she is lady or he is gents, they are especially ladies, they are interested in prayer. So she would go with him for the region that she wanted to attend prayer in the temple. So the priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer while the children sat in rows or either side of the veranda, singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. So chorus means group, means all the students, they would sit in the veranda, either in the side of the veranda, or maybe other side. So, and at that time they would learn alphabet, and they would learn prayer in group. My grandmother said inside, she would sit inside the temple reading the scriptures, means religious lines, religious books. So when we had both finished, means when he would finish his study and she would finish her prayer, so they would start their means return to home. So we would walk back together. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door, and they followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis with threw to them. Means when grandmother and Khushwant Singh, they would come back, on the way they would meet with dogs. When they threw the chapatis in front of them, in front of the dogs, they would growl and they would start fighting to take chapatis. So when my parents were comfortably settled in the city, there is a turning point. Next para, means his parents settled down comfortably. Then they sent for us, means for Khushwant Singh and his grandmother. That was a turning point. Means before this they were living in the village, and now in this para it is told that it is there that they started living in the city. It was a turning point because at this time they were not be able to spend time like they were spending in the village. Now let's see what happens. We shared the same room. My grandmother no longer came to school with me. She would not come to school with him, as she was going with him in the village school, so not in the city school. She would not follow, she would not go with him. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus, and there were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. Means no dog was there, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard when they were settled in the city. So this is all. I will continue in my next video. Jai Hind students.